Bulletproof Radio, a state of high performance.
How many people show up and they're like, I don't have ED, but I'm looking for an upgrade. Is that common?
It's very common. I would say about half the guys. And I'll go out on a limb here and say some of those guys definitely are experiencing ED issues, but they've also heard and understand that acoustic wave therapy for sexual performance isn't only for guys that have erectile dysfunction. I say it's for every guy. If you have a penis, there's no reason why you shouldn't try this, because as you know, there are no side effects and there's no downtime, and it can just make things that much better. So I let them, listen, you don't have any problems, that's okay. You just want to make things better. That's what this does. So I kind of let them, lead me down the path to where they want to go.
Make things better. What does that mean?
Specifically?
Yep.
Firmer erections, sustainability, shortens the refractory time between sexual intercourse sessions. I've heard, just increasing the intensity of the orgasm happens all the time. And we don't market this way or anything like that, but a lot of guys come back and they'll say, my penis is bigger. And I'm like, hey, that's good news. That's great news. I didn't ask, but nice to hear.
It's one of those things where talking about the size of your penis is just probably worse than talking about politics or religion, right? Because whatever you say, you're a douchebag. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
I kind of, when they tell me these things, I'm like, that's nice. I don't want to get into it, but that's awesome to hear. Good.
But it's a clinical setting thing, right? And as a biohacker, I'm willing to talk about some stuff here. And after I did, and granted, this was the clinical side. It's the same waveforms that you're using in the Phoenix, but I did it clinically about a couple of years ago. There were a few positions that became less comfortable for my wife because of physical changes. It's kind of a different size than it was. And so I've also had a doctor or someone come on the show, or someone in social media, where it's physically impossible to do that. And it's not physically impossible to do that. If you put more blood vessels in a part of the body, it'll generally be bigger. It's not that hard to understand. And so I was pleasantly surprised, given that I really wasn't like, I don't know, I'm curious what's going to happen, but I didn't have a lot of expectations there. So I talked about it with, a few of my really close guy friends. We got to dinner, like, Dave, I heard you did this. Is it real? And I would say 90% of them have gone out and either got a device from you or got the treatment clinically. And all of them are just like, oh my God, this actually really made a big difference. And these are guys from 30 to 60, right? Is there any reason to do this if you're 25?
Absolutely. I mean, we have lots of younger guys either coming into the clinic if they can afford it, or buying the Phoenix and doing the treatments at home. And they're the biohackers. They listen to you and they listen to Joe Rogan, they listen to all these, podcasts, and they're into working out, and, they are curious about the science behind it. And just to touch on something, right here that you mentioned was, growing new blood vessels, right? So this isn't, some type of, weird gimmick. There are, tons of clinical studies behind this, but angiogenesis, as you know, is the term for growing new blood vessels. And that's what this does. It creates new blood flow and actually rejuvenates weakened blood vessels, because that's what happens as we age. The blood vessels, they weaken all over the body, but they weaken in the penis as well. So this will wake those up and help kickstart the blood flow happening, down there again. So, guys in their 20s all the way up to, we have customers in their 70s, early 80s.